Hi everyone, I'm Law of the West, and in this video I'm going to be looking at all the silhouetted images that they've showed of the upcoming ships that they're working on for 2025. And I'm going to be letting you know what some of them have already been revealed to be and offering some suggestions for what the other ones are, so there's going to be some spoilers coming. The first one is easy. This is the CSV-FM, which is the ground vehicle that could be used to build medium-sized structures. They've already talked about it and showed images of it during Day 2 of CitizenCon, and it's going to have 2 drones and hold 16 SCUs of building material internally. And how it's handling and how its cab is structured are all going to be carbon copies of how the support module looks and acts. The second vehicle appears to be a heavy APC, kind of like an Ursa rover on steroids. And I've been waiting for something like this for a while now. I also like how the next vehicle that they showed is obviously an Atlas variant, because you can look at the person that's standing next to it and use that to gauge what the difference in size is between these two vehicles. And I'm hoping that they make it so it's just small enough to fit into a ship that couldn't carry an Atlas like the Valkyrie. And if you look at the top, you can see a remote turret with 2 guns mounted onto it. You can also see the outline of its all-terrain tires, a mud flap, and an angled windscreen. And the overall shape is so reminiscent of a military vehicle that you can practically see the drab olive paint peeking through its shadow. And as I said before, vehicle number 3 is definitely another variation on the Atlas platform. And it looks like it's going to be a heavy assault vehicle. It has a turret just like the others do, but this one looks like its weapons are going to be at least one size larger than theirs are. The rounded out back end looks a lot like the Spartans, but even bigger, which infers that it's going to have more internal space than the other Atlas models do. So this may end up being some kind of ground-based command and control center. Another idea that people have been floating around about it is that it's going to end up being a revamped version of the vehicle that they showed off during last year's CitizenCon. So if something as small as a CVS-SM can make medium-sized structures, then this would most likely be able to construct large buildings. Either way, it's definitely made by Anvil, and it's going to have a militaristic function. The fourth teaser shot is one of the Mark II Hornet variants, and this one is most likely going to be the Ghost. Teaser number 5 is the Mark II Tracer Hornet, and you can tell by the rounded radar dish that it has in place of the dorsal turret. The 6th entry is the Medical Terrapin. They were showing teasers of its interior in the same video that did a fly-through of the Polaris, and you can see from these shots that they scooped out its interior and installed a single medical bed in its place. This ship really caught my interest. It reminds me a lot of the Guardian, but when you compare it with the silhouette that we've already seen for it, you can tell that they're not even close. It looks like it's from an alien manufacturer, but it doesn't look like any of the Vandal ships that I know of, and it doesn't look like a Tavaran ship. It also doesn't have the traditional vertical look of a Xi'an vessel, but I still think that it's going to end up being a new addition from Gaddock, and because of its size and shape, I'm thinking that it would end up being either a heavy fighter or a medium interceptor. This one is obviously based on the Prospector. In fact, it looks like they just took a Prospector and scaled it up. The image also shows a couple of people in it, which I think is another hint that it's going to be a larger version of the Prospector that was designed to accommodate a crew of at least 2 people. The other theory is that this isn't a mining laser that you're looking at, it's a salvage arm. And this is going to be Misk's introduction into the salvage career path and possibly also their first repair ship as well, but we're just going to have to see about that. And this ship is another one that really intrigues me, because I'm not only having a hard time picking out a manufacturer for this ship, but I'm also having trouble trying to decide what kind of ship it's going to end up being. It has an extraordinarily low draft and what looks like a small lift in the front. And because of the angle that I'm looking at it from, it's hard to tell what its wings look like or if it even has any. And one of the other interesting things about this ship is that it doesn't seem to have a traditional looking windscreen. And I'm thinking that there's something going on with it that's either getting lost in the silhouette or that it's going to end up having a windowless cockpit just like the Talon does. And all I can really tell about it from this picture is that it's small but it's long for its size, and that it's probably going to be something that fits into the starter ship category or one tier level above that. I think that a ship like this would be perfect for infiltration, stealth, or electronic warfare. This one looks like it was manufactured by Drake, and its design seems to heavily borrow from 2 of their ships. The folded wings were obviously inspired by the Corsair, and the blunted front end makes me immediately think of the Vulture's flight deck. And its overall shape is awkwardly vertical looking in how it was structured, almost like it was a kind of budget version of a Xi'an ship. And I've heard some really nutty theories about what people think it's going to end up being, and not a single one of them holds any water at this point. But if you look more closely at the person in the image, it appears that this ship is going to be medium-sized and it's extremely tall for its dimensions and has a wide belly. And knowing Drake, this ship could be anything, because they dabble in almost every type of genre that a ship could fit into. Its design is so odd but in a good way, and I'm really interested in seeing more of it. So what's going on with this ship? I really don't know, but I'm looking forward to finding out. Now, this is another ship that's really given me nothing to go on from its picture, other than it appears to be a medium-sized vessel. On its roof it has a small turret, its 4 landing gear struts are splayed out in all directions, and it sits very low to the ground while it's landed. It has a traditional-looking spaceship design but a thick body, and you can see some rather powerful-looking thrusters in the back that may be mounted onto the end of its wingtips. I'm also having a tough time picking a manufacturer for this one, because it doesn't have any of the obvious tells that the other ships have. And it doesn't have any dead ringers that would let you know what it could be used for, like a radar dish, large weapons, a mining laser, or visible salvage arm. Things like that. But the large engines and vertical profile may indicate that it's going to be some kind of transport. Some people have tried to say that this is the Intrepid, but they also tried to say that about ship number 9 as well. I'm shooting this theory down because we already have a silhouetted image of the Intrepid, and it looks nothing like this ship. This is the Star Lancer, and it's the BLD model, and this image of it is an almost exact fit for that silhouette. And of course we had the Perseus. If you look at the person in the extreme background of the image, it makes the gun look even bigger than what they're supposed to be, but that's most likely an optical illusion based on the angle that we're looking at the ship from. The 14th ship that they're teasing us with images of is the Ironclad. That detachable bridge and the uniquely shaped body is a dead giveaway. And lastly, we have the Pioneer. They already showed us some updated images of how it looks, and it's not very different from the original model other than it was scaled up by about 20%. And they dumped the extendable arm that it used to have. Other than that, it still has the same basic shape and dimensions, while most of its changes were done internally. Well, that's going to be it for the 15 teaser shots that they gave us of just some of the upcoming ships that they plan on releasing over the next 12 months. I've been your host, Law of the West. Thanks for watching, and take care.